Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I am here today with Tyler Daniel. Tyler, can you do a quick intro of yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Tyler Daniel. I work here at Xair. I've been here for 16 years now. Started right out of high school working in assembly, spent some time in quality control, and I'm currently working as an application engineer on the international side with our international distributors.
That's incredible. Incredible. So you started there right after high school. I'm sure
Yep.
while you were in school, it probably wasn't your idea to go there first. So what did you want to be growing up, or where did you
I,
see
I
yourself?
did not have grand plans of selling compressed air products as a child. No, when I grew up, I wanted to be a pilot. So here in
Okay.
Cincinnati, we're really close to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and I got to hop on a flight simulator when I was real little, and landed on an aircraft carrier in the ocean, and thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Um,
Yeah.
life took me in a little bit of a different direction. An opportunity arose here when I was just out of high school, and the rest is history.
Yeah, yeah, 16 years. That's incredible. So you mentioned quickly just assembly,
Mhm.
quality. I know you've been in purchasing, then
Mhm.
application engineer, and now you're international, but it doesn't sound like a typical path
Mhm.
for people. Like I feel like assembly and then national, international work is quite a big jump. So looking back, was this intentional or did each role just kind of pull you into the next one?
A little bit. I mean, there wasn't a plan. It was kind of an as you go situation. Opportunities arose, and I jumped on them. But Xair has a tuition reimbursement program here that is great. So I was able to go to classes in the evening while working full time, come out completely debt free, and then once I got through that, the application engineering opportunity came up, and
Mhm.
here we are.
Oh, that's awesome. So this background gives you a unique perspective
Mhm.
because you physically were assembling the products, so you got to know them very well,
Yes.
before you were telling people about them. So now when you're troubleshooting, different problems that you see out in the manufacturing facilities, how does that uh, change kind of how you hear what they're describing or what they're going through?
So yeah, it completely changes everything. For me, visualization is key, and having seen and built these products from the ground up, it's really easy for me to identify a problem and troubleshoot it on the fly. So I think that's been something that's been very invaluable for me as I've developed here in this role.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, you just have so many roles. Like I'm trying to go through the different process. So I was in some different roles as well, but it was different products.
Hmm.
So I was in inspection and quality control, but for fruit, not compressed air. But the quality control, you have to learn kind of how things are put together and how they're supposed to
Hmm.
work and look and feel. So that's an interesting intersection there when you're in quality control. So did that teach you anything specific about the different ends? Because it's one thing to design something, it's one thing to have something perform a certain way.
Yeah, designs rarely work exactly as they're drawn up. I don't exactly know where I heard this originally, but I've got a funny story that a guy once told me that I can draw an elephant sitting on top of a pencil, but in practicality, we know that's not going to work. So just because it's able to be drawn up doesn't mean that it's going to work as is. So testing is everything, especially with our products and solutions. You sometimes just have to test the product in the application to really
Mhm.
see if it's going to work for you. And that's one reason why we offer an unconditional 30-day guarantee on anything in the catalog for all U.S. customers. So get it in, test it out. If it doesn't work, send it back.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, well, especially because industry, they vary
Hmm.
vastly. I mean, in how people are using it. Sure, they're probably blowing something off, but
Sure.
just the environments are entirely different.
Everything's different.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, yeah, being able to test that like in-house somewhere is virtually, I don't want
It's
to
often
say
necessary.
impossible, but yeah, it's to recreate some of those industries and how hard they are on some of the products is a little insane. So being in compressed air now for 16 years, I'm curious, what's the biggest misconception that you run into most often?
I would say that louder is better. That's something that we see often, especially if we're talking like air guns, air nozzles, any type of blow off application. Operators just think because it's louder, that means it's working. And oftentimes that's not the case. And in many cases, that's actually an OSHA violation. So
Mhm.
what we try to do is offer solutions that are going to keep that sound level down, but still provide you with enough force to get whatever job done that you're trying to accomplish. Um, I think our air knives are an excellent example of those, especially compared to something like a drilled pipe where the blow off is going to be very loud. Super
Mhm.
air knife is as quiet as 69 decibels, which is, but honestly, probably not even as loud as I'm talking right now. So louder is not always better. Oftentimes, you can get the job done without that noise, and
Mhm.
engineered products are how you get there.
Yeah, yeah, I used to talk a lot on hearing conservation programs because, I mean, you walk the floor and just having earplugs in all the time is, yes, it's like a Band-Aid almost to the loud noises that are in the manufacturing facility, but having those in all day, I mean, you see operators take them out all the time, and or even just to talk, or if we're talking on the floor, they take them out and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, that's not really now doing its job."
You've defeated the purpose of
Yeah.
the protection. So engineering that out of the
Yeah.
equation by installing something that eliminates the need for
Mhm.
PPE is oftentimes the goal.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest, like, aha moments that you've seen on, like, how you can actually get that point across? Like, if you're on site somewhere or teaching it?
I think I don't know if it's really an aha moment necessarily, but we once had a customer. They were in the business of processing different types of soil. So they had this large machine that was chopping everything up into small bits and pieces, and they were using drilled pipes to blow the blades off inside that machine.
Mhm.
But it was a process that ran almost 24/7. So we finally found an opportunity for them to get some air knives, get those installed during a shift change. But then when we came back into the office on Monday, I had an email from a pretty upset maintenance guy that had said that these air knives, they're not working. And
Mhm.
how do you know they're not working? Has the problems restarted? Or, I can't hear them. And so he simply just thought that they weren't working.
Oh.
So they shut the machine off, and lo and behold, they were working the whole time. There was no issue. He just simply could not hear that they were on,
Mhm.
and thought that they didn't get installed. So um,
Okay.
oftentimes that's the result we're looking at with a lot of applications. Is we really can just take the sound level completely out of the equation as an issue for many of our customers.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, I'm like, did you like, was there still debris on the product? Like,
He
talking
didn't
about
even go in there to look
quality.
at it. He just said, "I can't hear him. Turned it off. Not
Yeah.
replacing blades." So it was interesting.
Oh my gosh. So, the next thing is when someone hears X-air, like
Mhm.
you've already talked a lot about, the air knives and nozzles. What products or applications would, surprise some people, when they realize it even exists?
I think this definitely has to be the vortex tube for me. So
Okay.
for those that are not familiar with what a vortex tube is, it is a product that utilizes simply a source of compressed air. There's no moving parts, no refrigerants, no electricity, and we're able to generate a stream of both hot and cold air that exit out of opposite ends of the tube. So these can be used for various spot cooling applications, and also incorporated into other products that we sell, such as the cabinet cooler, which is going to be used for panel cooling.
Okay. So walk me through one of these cabinet coolers because I'm not familiar with them. Like, what's happening inside an enclosure that makes it a problem that someone would need one
Sure.
of those?
electrical components give off heat, and depending on the environment where this panel is installed, it's often not in climate controlled facilities. It could be outdoor, exposed to sunlight, indoors near an oven, boiler, or something like that. But you need a solution for maintaining a safe operating temperature inside for those electrical components to prevent any damage, lines being shut down. Every facility has PLCs that are controlling their processes in some way, shape, or form. If they are not using something like a cabinet cooler to cool that, they may be using fans, which opens up the environment or opens up the panel to contamination from the environment. They could be using like an AC type system, which is going to require regular maintenance. There's filters that need to be replaced. Refrigerants can leak. The cabinet cooler is quite literally just set it and forget it. Since there's no moving parts to wear out, all you got to do is supply it with clean and dry air, and they just continue to work. We had a customer many years ago that had one called in and said, hey, we've had this thing for about 12, 13 years. Are there any replaceable parts or anything we need to do to it? And it come to find out this thing was probably close to 20 years old and was still just working, and had just been there the entire time that guy had worked there. So we had him send it back into us. We've got it on display in our demo room, and sent him a new one. But yeah, if under the right conditions, these things just work forever. And I think that's really what sets it apart as a good solution in industry, because you hook it up, you supply it with your compressed air, and that's it.
Yeah. Amazing for the users, not so amazing when you're in sales.
No, it's not good for parts sales, that's for sure. So yeah, when we make sure that when we help a customer with a solution, it's going to lead them to understand that coming back to Xair is the option for all problems going forward, because it's going to work for you, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
Maintenance managers love it.
Right. I'm sure that's one less thing they have to keep on their PM. So let's say, unlike the cabinet cooler, say a customer calls in with an issue, and normally they're explaining something, right? Like, okay, this isn't working. But the way they're explaining it, it's almost actually like, what do they actually need to say, or what are they actually asking? If this question makes sense. When I used to work with parts, it was, they would say one thing, or, there's a pressure drop, or, the noise is gone, or this, but it's almost always something else. So I'm curious to see your experience there.
For pressure for us, it's almost always related to pressure or volume of flow in some way, shape, or form. They'll tell you, I've got 110 psi, but where? And oftentimes they're measuring that out the outlet of the compressor. You've got a host of things in between where that pressure is being measured and the actual point of use. So I think for us and troubleshooting any products related to Xair, it's always going to come down to pressure, and where is that pressure being measured. If it's not at the point of use, then that's not really telling us anything.
Yeah. So how do you typically go about troubleshooting that? Because it's quite a large undertaking, as I now learned, in kind of what we do. But what's your process to help them narrow that down, or just to give them some feedback on where they can go or do? I know you mentioned already the point of use.
Yeah.
Figuring out the pressure.
So that's where we start. So oftentimes it's quite literally just me circling on a picture where to install a pipe T and a pressure gauge, so that we can get an accurate measurement of what the air inlet pressure is. If we're not getting sufficient air pressure at the inlet for whatever we're trying to accomplish, then we start going back from there and looking where is there something in the line that's causing a restriction? Is it an issue with the supply from the get-go? Is the compressor not large enough? And honestly, that's where the EasyCast software has been really helpful for us, because if they have their system modeled up, it's going to immediately flag any of those issues before it even becomes a problem.
Yeah. Me being introduced to the software, it was a game changer, because I was also in your shoes on the end of the compressed air line, where, like you said, there's so many things that could be wrong before it gets there. And not even
Undersized quick disconnect fittings are
yeah.
a common culprit. They're super easy to use. Everybody loves them, but they are starving you for air.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good note too, a good place to start looking. So now you kind of switched and you work with international distributors.
Mhm.
Now I'm very curious here because I also recently moved to, international compressed air work. And what's your experience? Is compressed air a universal problem?
It definitely is. We just call it a little something different, and quite honestly, I think the metric system makes a lot more sense. I have become an acceptant of that. But so yeah, it looks the same. It reacts the same. It's just the metrics that we're using to quantify it are going to change.
Yeah, I have not converted yet.
You'll get.
So it's
It takes time. It takes
yeah.
time.
Yeah, well, because I still have a lot of projects here in the US, so just being able to switch, I'm like, "Can we just pick one? Can we agree
I
on
can't do
one?"
speed, but I can do volume and distance. So
There you go. There you go. There you go. So, I'm also curious, do you see different challenges that look completely different depending on where the plant is? Like, in the world, like, I don't know if the sea level is like, does that really? Because I know in,
that
like,
that doesn't
SCFM.
that doesn't impact us quite as much as it would for other products or larger systems.
Mhm,
Generally, we're not getting into the weeds as far as where they're at. It's on sea level and
mhm,
atmosphere, what their atmospheric pressure is, and everything like
mhm,
that. For us, it's mostly an apples to apples comparison
mhm.
across plant to plant.
Yeah. So when you're working with some of these international customers, I'm also now curious because I have not been in a manufacturing facility outside the US and Canada.
Mhm.
So I'm curious, do they look the same? I mean, we don't have to share any, in-depth details, but like, are they mostly similar, or is there something that
No,
you was like shocked you?
it just depends on where in the world you're at. So the regulations for one country to another
Mhm,
varies wildly. Traveling through Latin America and some parts of Asia are a little different than going to Europe, and definitely
mhm,
different than being here in the U.S. So being aware and understanding what the regulatory bodies are that govern a specific entity is something that we need to be familiar with. And
mhm,
other than that, yeah, the processes are the same. The equipment might be older or newer, and it may be more or less organized. But when it
mhm,
all comes down to it, they're doing the same things. We're manufacturing the same types of products, using the same types of processes. So uh,
mhm,
by and large, it's basically the same.
mhm. Yeah. So now going into your travels a little bit, because I did see that you were in Japan. That's on my
Yes.
list. What was that like?
Oh, Japan is a wonderful place. Food is fantastic. Very well organized, structured. Uh,
Mhm,
it's an interesting place to do business. That's for sure. But
mhm.
it's a wonderful place to visit, and I would love to go back for personal.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. So what's been your most memorable international travel? Because you're everywhere.
My most memorable. It's really hard to say a specific one. You know, when you look back on everywhere you've been, it's pretty cool. One of the coolest and most unique things I would say was getting to do traditional Finnish sauna and jumping into the sea in the
Mhm.
middle of October. Um, that was cool, and I'm hip to the sauna lifestyle now. I just bought one last year for my own house, so it's
Yeah.
been a long time coming.
Mhm.
But yeah, that trip was in 2017. It was one of my first international trips, and I think
Okay.
in that moment I realized that this is pretty cool to be able to get to experience something like this, but halfway across the world, and getting paid to do so. So I think that's something that has always stood out to me.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I am also a fan of the sauna.
Yeah, we were doing cold plunge before cold plunge became popular here in the States.
Right, right. That's so funny. So going back a little bit, because we're almost, well, we're at the 20-minute mark now, but I do have two more things that I want to hit. So spec sheets, you
Mhm.
guys have so many products, like an insane amount of
It's a
products
lot.
in categories. So do you find a difference between like the spec sheet and the actual product?
Mhm.
And where would that gap show up most in, like when you're in the industry where they're like the spec sheet looks like this, but the actual product is here. Is there a gap that you notice?
Not with Xair. Our products, the standards and the performance that you find in the catalog, you can test our products to those standards, and that's what you're going to find.
Mm,
Things do go wrong when there is a gap between what's published and how it actually performs. And for that reason, we take great pride in making sure that our published data is accurate, and
mhm.
it affects everything else in the system. So if we're not giving the customer with accurate information and accurate data at the forefront, then what good are we?
Yeah, yeah, interesting. I have seen some, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but I have, now that we work with a lot of suppliers,
Mhm.
it's not always do they match what the specs say. So I'm super excited for our lab to come into place. It's being built now. So that'll be super exciting to have all these videos and test benches and
We can test it
everything.
all live.
Yeah, yeah, it's super, super interesting to see that, and I think a lot of people want to see that, especially with AI and all these videos and crazy things going on now. People are gonna wanna see more, like, hands-on with
Yep.
real human beings doing real things, solving problems. So I'm actually really excited for that more than AI. Just the need for, more human connection, I think is coming. So that's very, very interesting to me. And last thing before we head out to the rest of our day, 16 years is a very long time. So I'm curious. I mean, that's long for anyone to stay
Mhm.
anywhere. And I know maybe this is a little different for you because you have been in different roles.
Mhm.
But what's kept you there and kept you curious?
The newness, I guess, if you will, because we have so many different product lines. There's never a dull day, if you will. Yeah, there's
Mhm.
customers from every industry across the world in my inbox. I get to learn about new processes, new products, and really just Xair. Xair is a great place to be. So I have no intention of going anywhere anytime soon. We're in here for the long haul, and we're gonna make this place great.
Mhm. Yeah, I saw you guys just changed, your logo and everything and
New
rebrand
logo, a complete
years.
brand overhaul. That was new. That was new for us. I've still got the old logo here on the shirt, so we're gonna need to get new shirts on order. But no, there's been a lot changing. We brought Beat fog nozzle into the fold a couple of years ago. So expanding through acquisitions is another new thing for Xair. So
Mhm,
it's been a lot of fun, and we did our first trade show a couple weeks ago down there in Orlando. So it's
mhm,
while I've been in the same building for all 16 years, my day-to-day role has changed quite a bit over the years, and will continue to evolve.
mhm. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm interested to see what you guys do. Like rebranding after 45 years,
It's a big step.
keep doing a certain thing. Yeah, that's a big, big, bold move. So, all right. Well, we're at the 24 minutes. Thank you so much for coming on today. And I'm curious. I love when you share your travels on LinkedIn. Because it's just so cool. And I'm slowly getting into more and more travels. We're not 45 years yet, so we're a startup. So I'm still, we're still in the weeds, I guess if you could say that. Yeah,
You'll get there. It'll happen.
bootstrapping. Yeah, it'll definitely happen, and it's already starting to with some travel here and there. But it's nice. I do miss being out there and doing different things, just meeting people and, different
just keeps
cultures.
things fresh.
It really does. It really does. All right. Well, thanks again so much. And thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Danny.
Yep. Take care. Bye.